Alright, welcome everyone. We're going to continue the speed run and play another 10-minute game. Hope you guys are having a good day today. I'm having a good day. I had a pretty hard loss yesterday to a player much lower rated than me, but such is life and chess. So we're going to play the short variation. I'm a huge fan of the short variation. In this variation that he's playing, the computer thinks this move objectively is the best move, but my opinion on it is that it's incredibly difficult for black to play this well. So 97 already feels a little inaccurate. I'm tempted by c4. Okay, c4. The best move was queen b6, not knight d7. I don't know what the status of knight d7 is, but I do know it's a worse move than queen b6. And c4 is a very typical idea, because if you look at black's development, black has egregiously awful development, and white, on the other hand, is basically castling. So I wonder, okay, if I take, he cannot take because check, game's over. Okay, I mean I can even check with this. Maybe this one is better because I develop an extra piece as opposed to moving this. And also the queen is harder to challenge than the bishop. The bishop is liable to maybe a6. Queen is a little harder to displace. Okay, he just loses the queen immediately and game over. Yeah, it was pretty easy. Hopefully we'll have a speedrun game where I don't immediately win the game. Okay. So we're gonna put this into QChess. Again, this is a website I really, really admire, created by one of my friends, and it's a very useful website. So I played e4, he played c6, I played d4, he played d5, I played e5. It's interesting. China is liking taking a little more. Interesting. Okay, played e5. He played bishop f5. I played knight f3. Really likes this knight d2 stuff, but I don't know. I like the short. Play e6. a3. What a bizarre looking move. Okay, bishop e2. And c5. And this move, like I said, it is the top computer move. But it's practically very difficult because white plays bishop e3. You see this is the best scoring move that has this plus 0.01 evaluation. So white defends the center, generates a threat on c5, and if you play something like knight c6, white's just gonna take this pawn, and this is already very, very, very good for white. White's just winning. And if you try a typical queen a5, this is very normal. The situation just goes from bad to worse because now this is coming and this pawn is being cemented in, and white's winning the chess game. So yeah, so this move is nice. It develops, it hits the center, And black is strongly disincentivized from taking because this is also coming with tempo. So it's starting to be too many tempo moves in a row for black to cope with, and we are trying to leverage open the center while the black king is still in the center. And an interesting thing I was talking about in the Caro Kann is like, okay, the advantage of the Caro Kann is you get a French structure, you get the bishop outside the pawn chain. But the disadvantage of the Caro Kann is this diagonal becomes very weak. And if you ever get checked on this diagonal and you can't block, you usually just kind of lose, as as was demonstrated in the speedrun game. So yeah, queen b6, like I said, is the best move. So he played knight d7, which is not, it's not egregiously bad. But the line I recommend against queen b6 is the same c4, again with a huge win rate. I think this is very, very good. And then queen takes b2. We're even able to castle here. We don't need to address this threat. And you can see white is just taking black to the cleaners. This is incredibly challenging, I think, for black to play, and very easy to mess up. You can see 68% of the time black just like loses the game and takes this rook. And I won't go too far into why you can't do this, but essentially queen b3 ends black. There's a threat to go here, and you're forking this and this, and you're also trapping the queen. You know, you're winning the queen like this. The center is opening up. You got huge, insane pressure on the center. And black's completely underdeveloped. Black's not going to survive this attack. It doesn't matter that after knight c3 they can give away their queen. Sure, material may be equal, but white's whole army is out, and black has nothing in the game, and black has many, many things falling, and the king is a huge target. So that's my recommendation against the main line. So you played knight d7, which is not something that I knew so well, and I decided to play c4, which is not the best move. The best move is to castle. I wonder why it doesn't like this. Is it something like this? Bishop takes what? And then bishop b4. I see. Yeah, that's an interesting way to play. So I guess what we're supposed to do is castle first, and then say like knight d7, then play c4, I'm assuming. Yeah. Okay, so we're just addressing this issue with c4, which is that they have the check. Which does show up in some other lines. Like, I'm trying to think of what the other line is. Maybe that is the line that I'm thinking of. I don't remember. But there is another line where you're not supposed to play c4 immediately. You're supposed to castle. Anyway. So you played knight d7, I played c4. And he did not find the best move. He played this move. And again, I use my knowledge of the fact that if you get checked on this diagonal in the Caro Kann, you lose the game, to play this move. Because he would like to play this move, but playing this move gets checked on the diagonal, and like I said, the rule is you get checked on the diagonal, you lose. So he didn't know that rule, and queen a4 is the best move, not bishop b5. Just because, again, we want to develop an extra piece, right? This move just develops one extra piece, whereas the bishop's already doing a good job. Better to give the check with the queen. And I mean, this is pretty bad. I'm saying, like, also another advantage is, okay, here, where maybe have this idea to drop in, whereas we wouldn't have the same idea if the bishop was on b5. And I was mentioning that how not specifically that idea, but I was mentioning how the bishop on b5 was potentially a target to like a6, but not only that, it restricts our pieces a little bit. So let's play one more game. This will be probably my last game of the episode. Okay, let's play knight f6. And I really like, against the London, I really like this system to go d6 and knight d7. We have two ideas. We have one idea being e5, and the other idea being knight h5 and tracking the bishop. So I don't know. I'm attracted by this move. I don't know the theory here, but I'm gonna play this move. I'm holding on to my knight h5 idea, and I'm gonna tap b2. The advantage of this move was okay. So I'm able to get my knight h5 idea and track the bishop pair, and then I can complete my. Okay. I wonder if I should take that. I feel like the computer is gonna tell me to take that. Because sometimes like they're able to go here. Okay, we're gonna take it. I just have to make sure there's no like nonsense. But this doesn't work. Because I take it and then take, I block. Okay. So there's a lot of heat on the white squares. And this move is coming. So like that move, can I play h6? Take. Just move. I should be safe there. Maybe I can bring the last defender. That's the other advantage of having the knight here, is that the knight can be replenished on the c6 square. And sometimes it's very human to try to castle queenside. The computer almost never thinks that that's a good idea. For white. So let's see if we're able to demonstrate why that is the case. And I'm just going to castle here, no fear. There is an open file, but I have this bishop, this X-factor bishop, this uncontested dark square bishop. And the bishop makes me really safe. Because it's very hard for him to trade it. And it just coordinates so well with the pawns. Okay. I think we're just going to take. So he's committed essentially to castling queenside, so that's why I wanted to take. He does have a tempo. One thing I'm a big fan of is creating like a list of all the disruptive moves that your opponent has for you. So I got my eye on this move. I got my eye on this move. Obviously, probably needs to address, the fact that, or I'm just gonna keep taking stuff. I mean, maybe he could flick this in, but I'm expecting a recapture. But I always watch. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's just castle the king. I didn't want to have to deal with any checks. Maybe it was better to go here. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I see. I kind of walked into that one, didn't I? That's fine. Is it fine? Hopefully it is. We'll see. So this pawn is pinned. So the only thing defending this is the queen. Okay, let's just go h6. Stop knight g5. Cut the pressure. Okay, he's just going to give the exchange. But I don't think this is very good. We're just going to hit the rook. There's no like sacks, like bishop takes. I just take the rook. And I'm just going to trade. And I think black's just completely winning. Black's up material. Just doesn't work what white's doing. I do still have to watch this because it hits this. But okay, we're going to try to trade the rooks. And again, you know, we have to watch these sacks. But okay, this doesn't work just yet. It's very nice that I'm controlling the e5 square, so this is never a thing. Yeah, nice detail. Okay. Sure. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do well. I think this is good. Let's just take and remove the headache. Okay, so he's maybe looking at this. I guess he is observing that a little. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eyeball this and I'm going to eyeball this. So I'm forking two like kind of mating ideas. This is not a mate idea, but it's a queen trade, which he really can't afford to trade the queens. And I think this is going to end the game. Because how to stop? I mean, the only way to stop both of the threats is with this. And I just like start taking stuff. And like it's important to note, like if he sacks the piece, like this doesn't create a threat. I don't have to take this. Like, sure, it's next to my king, but like, what's the threat? There's no threat. So I have time to do my own attack. And I think my own attack is going to be quite strong. And this will be a more interesting game because there's more theory to look at. My opponent put up some longer resistance. And I do know that if the opponent tries to castle queenside in these types of positions, it's not good. Which is, I think, kind of the opposite of what the human intuition is telling us. Which is that, you know, with this H file, white should be doing well. But that I don't think is the case from an objective standpoint. So let's just trade the queens. Don't see any reason not to do this. Okay, we have to trade the queens. And let's just move our bishop. Interesting. Okay. Actually, let's start expanding on the queen side. So I have the rook, and the advantage of the rook is that I can play on both sides of the board. So I'm trying to like identify like weaknesses. Okay. I would like the pawn to reach b4. The pawn is really good on b4. Okay, I'm not too worried about what this knight is doing. The pawn's good on b4 because I have the Ooga Booga clamp over here. So like, tempted by this move. I just hit the pawn. The only way to defend the pawn is to put the bishop back, and then I hit this pawn, and then you're losing a pawn. So yeah, the pawn on b4 super good with the clamp on the weakness. Yeah. Okay. Let's execute our play. Okay. That's a free knight because this is check, and then we take the knight. Okay, free knight. Okay. So this will be a longer investigation. Let me flip the board. So he plays d4, knight f6, and bishop f4. And I was really singing the praises of this this d6 move. And he goes e3, then I go knight d7, and yeah, I want this idea, and I want this idea. These are my two ideas. So the best move is to play h3 and try to cope with both ideas at once, right? If I go here, now you have you can back off all the way, and if I go here, same thing. You can back off all the way. So my opponent doesn't play that. He plays bishop d3, and I chose c5, which is much worse. e5 was kind of my instinct move. It makes sense. It was the idea that I was talking about, and it is the best move. c5 is not a good move, so I'll have to remember that. So I played c5, and we got c3, and I played queen b6, and he played queen c2, and I was able to execute my idea to try to win this bishop. He played bishop back, and here I really wanted to play g6, but I knew that if I played g6, the computer was going to yell at me and say it was a bad move. Let's see. How bad is g6? g6 is quite bad. It's plus, I mean, it's okay. It's plus 0.33. Because he can save the bishop. This is not very human to do this, but you allow it, and objectively it's good for white. So even though this opens the file, it's better to grab now while you have the chance. I'm gonna play g6. And then my opponent played knight f3, and I went bishop here. I was looking at these sort of ideas, but my opponent did not go for that. He went knight e2. I castled. That's the best move. And then he went rook h4. So this move is like, I said earlier that it's never good for them to castle queenside, and mostly that's because they really just can't make an attack work against this construction without a way to trade this bishop. This bishop is an incredibly powerful defender of the king, and then the knight is going to come and defend, and this construction is super duper solid, and the open file is just not really enough for them to create chances. So this move seals the deal. I know that they're going to castle because they can't castle this way anymore. So I decided to take. Computer is not necessarily a fan. It wants to go d5, which is a little interesting. I guess they're worried about e4. It's kind of strange. Anyway, I took, which is not the best move. So I took, and he took, and I went knight f6, and he castled, and I went bishop e6. Did I do that? Yeah, I did. It's not good because the knight can come hit it. It's a little scary. Rookie won first. This is really smart. So, not just having your eye on the H file, tunneling on the H file, but looking at the other weaknesses Black has. Black has these two weaknesses, and the bishop is not stable because of knight g5. So you eyeball the e7 pawn. My opponent played a very natural move. King b1, just defending. And oh shoot, I put him in a pin. So now this pawn is pinned. And if this queen ever moves too far, you might have to worry about rook takes c3. The rook's just good. The rook's on the only open file Black has, so it's a good placement for the rook. It's saying to get out of this pin immediately. You don't want to be in this pin. Okay, he doubled on the H file. That's very natural. And I just played H6. And okay, Black is already winning here. It says not winning, but Black is doing very well. It's almost -1, and he just decides to take, which I definitely think is a little bit of an overreaction. I was saying that he was lost by this point, and I just went up. I want to trade, and you went rook h4, and I offered to trade, and he plays knight e4, and I take. He takes, I take, he takes, and then I was pretty happy with this move, queen a6, threatening the queen trade and threatening checkmate. It's not really up there so much. It's the 5th move, but okay, I play queen a6, and he has this way to avoid both. I didn't see that. Wow. And it's the best move by a lot. This avoids both because it blocks the bishop and it creates a place for the king to go on queen f1, so he doesn't have to trade with queen here. So of course he plays d5, and I can just take it. Holy. Take, and if he takes, I have the fork. Check, here, check. Some move, let's say queen back, and I take. I didn't see that. I was so excited to get the queens off. And again, I should be trying to win this pawn. It wants me to try to win this pawn. But okay, I didn't see how to win the pawn immediately. And I knew this endgame was very good for me. So I played just bishop d7. You know, white should be lost, technically speaking. They played f4. And I tried to go after this pawn. I played b5. They played king here. I played a5. They played knight f3. I played b4. Takes, takes. Knight here. And I just pile up on a2. And it's saying this is not as bad as it was. And to just give away a2. Okay, they played this move. And I hit this pawn, which is now indefensible. And it's saying even going back is reasonable. This pawn is a bigger priority. But my opponent hung a knight. They played this move, and the game is fully over after that. Well, I hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you in the next speedrun episode.